Okay, so we have started the data protocols, right? In that, the we have started with MQTT. Then we have seen in the last lecture like other two protocols like XMPP and AMQP, right? So these are the main or very popular protocols, right, in this data category, right? So data category means the protocol which are transferring the message, the transferring the data or do the communication in the form of message, right? Apart from this protocol, right? For example, for MQTT, standard protocol, but in that some other variants are like SMQTT, secure MQTT, then MQTT SN. This MQTT is specially designed for sensor wireless network or sensor network, right? So it's similar to the MQTT protocol, like it's open and lightweight protocol, right? And following the publish subscribe architecture. Uh, and this is basically designed for the machine to machine and the mobile application, right? So whenever you want to control something through your mobile, right? And you want to do like machine to machine communication means you want to connect your mobile with some specific device, number of devices, right? Limited number. Then you can use this MQTT SN. Then such MQTT protocol, right, provided by some like company, right? So they've created some platforms. So such kind of one platform is Mosquitto, right? So you'll search this, you'll find, right? It's a open source MQTT version 3.1 broker, right? So you can use this Mosquitto to develop some of your IoT application, right? Similar way like IBM message site, right? So this is also use the MQTT protocol, right? It's a kind of platform. Then the COEP that we have seen, right? This XMPP and AMQP, this both also we have seen, right? One more data protocol, it's a WebSocket. So the WebSocket specification, right? It's developed as a part of the HTML5 initiative, right? So HTML is a hypertext uh, makeup language, right? So like using that, this is developed, right? And it's introduced the WebSocket JavaScript interface, right? And this interface will define a full duplex single socket connection over which the message can be sent between client and server, right? So here definitely it's also following the client server architecture in that we can do the communication by full duplex, right? So this simplex, half duplex, and full duplex, right? So there are three types of communications are there, right? In simplex, you just do the communication in single way, right? So if once you will define a transmitter or receiver, right, then receiver can only receive the message, transmitter can only transmit the message or a signal. Whereas in half duplex, you have two devices, then both devices are able to transmit as well as receive the signal or receive the data. Right? So both way communication, bidirectional communication is possible in duplex, right? In half duplex. Uh, then what is the difference in half duplex and full duplex? So half duplex means both way communication is possible, but not at single time. At single time, only one way communication is possible, right? So like right now we are transmitting signal from uh, device 1 to device 2, right? Then at the same time you can't transmit the signal from device 2 to device 1, so that is a half duplex. And the full duplex means at simultaneously or at the same time both can transmit as well as receive, right? So this work socket is the kind of full duplex, right? Then the standard simplifies uh, much of the complexity around the bidirectional web communication and connection management, right? So this is also one kind of data protocol. Then one more protocol is DDS, right? So DDS is data execution service to real-time system, right? So this kind of protocol generally used in the real-time system wherever you need whatever the change in the data immediately, right? Then we can use this type of protocol. Uh, and this DDS is the first open international middleware standard, right? So it's a kind of open protocol, right? Open protocol means like no permission is needed, no royalty you have to pay, right? So it's open, and it was also the first international standard, right? It will directly addressing the publish subscribe communication, right? So its architecture is kind of public subscribe, right? One will publish the data to the broker, and broker will means the client has to subscribe some topic to the or some service or some kind of data from the broker, and the broker will send only those client the particular data which is subscribed, right? And is generally used wherever you have the real-time application, right? Uh, and one more protocol is MIN or MTDA, right? So is the mean agent is a software component, right? That act as a mediator between M2M server and the application running on the embedded gateway. So this protocol it's a part of like a project called the Mean project, right? And it's a kind of a software, right? So that we can use as a mediator or middleware, right? For do the communication, or you can use into some kind of IoT application, right? So this protocol, right? It's optimized for the transport of binary M2M data, right? So wherever machine to machine, you will do the connection or communication between machine to machine, and the data is of the communication you want to do in the form of binary, right? Then you can use this protocol, right? Uh, this protocol is like able to do like the device management, or wherever you need task like device management, right? uh, that is it is doing by easing the manipulation and the synchronization of the device data model, right? They can also do the asset management, right? By allowing the user's application to exchange the different types of data and commands, right? uh, and this way it will optimize the use of bandwidth, right? So in this protocol you do not need the larger bandwidth, right? Optimize means uh, as small as possible it will use the bandwidth, right? Then one more protocol is the LLAP, that is stand for the lightweight local automation protocol, right? uh, and that is do the communication in the form of short message, right? And it will use between like the intelligent object using normal text, right? And this protocol is not like the TCP/IP, Bluetooth, Zigbee, 6LoWPAN, Wi-Fi, right? Such kind of protocol in which it will deal with like at lower level how you will move the data, right? Uh, and this LLAP can run over any communication medium. Right? So there are three main strengths, or we can say like advantage of this protocol is like they will run on anything right now. They can run in anything in the future, right? And this protocol is very easy to understand by the human. Uh, then the other one more protocol is the lightweight machine-to-machine protocol, right? So that is LWM2M. So this is a system standard in Open Mobile Alliance. Right? This will include some features like DTLS, datagram transport layer security. Then it is also use the COAP protocol, right? Then block, observe, right? Then SendML and the resource directory, right? So these all these features they will combine them, right? So waves them into a device server interfacing along with the object structure, right? So this is also one kind of protocol. Then one more protocol is SSI, simple sensor interface, right? This is a simple communication protocol which is designed for the data transfer between computer or user terminal and the smart sensor, right? So in the uh, wireless sensor network kind of application, right? You can use it. Then the Java message service, JMS, right? So it's a Java message oriented middleware. So wherever you see the term middleware, right? So middleware is a kind of software which you can run on the laptop or PC, right? So it's a Java message oriented middleware, API, application programming interface for sending message between two or more clients. Then reactive streams, it's also a standard for asynchronous stream processing with non-blocking back pressure on the Java virtual machine. Then the RESTful HTTP, right? So that we have seen like it's uh, I think Cope, right? So it's based on this RESTful HTTP, right? It's using this RESTful representational state transfer protocol, right? Then HTTP also we can use for the data transfer or for communication, right? So this will enable a more efficient use of network resources and the reduced perception of latency by introducing the header file compression, right? So it will use a technique or mechanism of header file compression, and because of that, it will reduce the latency. Latency means when you transfer the data, some delay, right? For example, uh, at this second you will transfer the data, but at the same second you will not receive the message, right? Or the data. It will take some time. So that the latency that the delay, right? So it will reduce the delay, and it will allow the multiple concurrent exchanges on the same connection. Right? So these are the different data protocols, right? It's not like to remember all the information about this or about all the data protocol, right? This for information, whatever you can remember, right? In exam they will not ask like specifically this protocol, right? Maybe they ask about this the standard or the data protocol which are most popular like MQTT, COAP, XMPP, AMQP, right? Apart from that, they will not ask specifically about this protocol. But for your information, I have included in the slide. Okay. Then the next type of or next group of protocol is of communication protocols, or you can say like transport layer protocols. So in this protocol, we can include like IEEE 802.15.4, then ZigBee, then 6LoWPAN, wireless HART, Z-Wave, SA100, Bluetooth, NFC near field communication, RFID radio frequency identification, right? So these all we can include in this category communication protocol, right? And from name you can see like where in your IoT application or in your network, whatever technology, whatever way you are using to communication, to do the communication, right? We are including those technology in this category of protocols, right? So let's see some of them, right? Uh, First, the IEEE 802.15.4 protocol, right? So some of the feature is like it's a well-known standard protocol, right? And which is used for specifically application in which you need low data rate, right? Or the communication speed you do not need that much of it, right? And it is generally used in wireless PAN, wireless personal area network, right? So wireless personal area network, you know, like in personal area network, your devices are in the short range, or the number of devices in the personal area networks are very less, right? So you can use this protocol, you can use this technology or protocol in the application which you have the very limited number of devices, right? And you need, like, your necessity is like you can't use the wire to connect the devices, right? You have to you need to use the or you need to do the communication through wireless, right? So there you can use this protocol, right? This protocol is mainly developed for the load, data rate, monitoring and control purpose, right? So wherever you have the application of monitoring something, you need to control something, and whatever the data you are transferring, data not that much, then you can use this protocol, right? It is also used in the application in which you have the restricted power, like your whatever the battery you are using, the size of the battery very less, or you need to like survive with the battery with more time or more with more day, right? You do not have the facility like frequently you can charge the battery. So if you want uh, you want to increase the battery life, right, which you are using in your network or in your with your device or to operate your device, right? So in such application you can use this protocol, right? So it's a extended life low power consumption uses, right? So wherever you want to consume less power, right, then you can use this protocol. uh, so if you see like the stack, or we can say like layers, or like we can say like in architecture. So in architecture the standard use only first two layer, right? And those layers are the physical layer and the media access layer, right? So this physical layer and media access layer is generally like the data link layer, right? So the data link layer is also known, or we can say like this media access control, right? It's a part of the data link layer, right? So the standard is using first two layer, right? Along with that, it is also using the LLC logical link control, right? And the layer called service specific convergence sublayer, right? SSCS. So these two layers additionally, this protocol is using, right? And these two protocols it's used for uh, doing the communication between these two lower layers, physical layer and media access layer, MAC layer, with the upper layers, right? In architecture, you if you consider all the layers, all for example the standard 7 layer, right? Then the first two layer, right, they have to do the communication with the upper layer. So for that they will take the help of this kind of layers or protocol, right? This IEEE 802.15.4 protocol, right? The frequency which is used by this protocol, it is in the ISM band, right? So ISM band, it's ISM is for industrial science medical band. So in some industrial application, in some medical application, in some research purpose, right? Government has allocated a band, right, whose center frequency is about 2.4 gigahertz, right? And the band is of about 100 mega megahertz, right? So you can consider like from 2.4 gigahertz, 15 hertz less and 15 hertz more, right? So that way it creates the 100 megahertz band. So in that range, right, you can use the frequency, right, for this protocol. So it is operating in that band, right? Uh, so you can compare like this protocol stack, right? So in this protocol it is using mainly two uh, layers, right? That is the physical layer and the media access layer, right? So media access is kind of data link layer. So you can see like with OSI model, if you compare, then IEEE 802.15.4, right? It is like in our OSI, it's using these two data link and physical layer, and you can see like in this protocol IEEE 802.15.4, right? Along with the physical and media access layer, two more layer or two more protocol like LLC and SSCS, right? Uh, these are the logic logical link control and the service specific convergence sublayer, right? So these two are additionally used, and you can see like they are between the network layer and the MAC layer, right? So this physical and MAC layer are the lower layer, and the network is the upper layer, right? So here it's shown only network layer, but it is also using like transport station presentation application layer, right? But mainly like whatever the changes are there are in this first two layer and the additional these two layer, right? So it's a comparison like in this IEEE 802.15.4 protocol and OSI model, right? Then this protocol is using a modulation technique called DSSS, right? So it's DSS means direct sequence spread spectrum, right? Now this modulation is it's a technical term, right? So modulation it's come in the communication field. So in simple language, if I want to explain, then modulation is like whenever you speak, for example, whenever we speak, our voice has also some frequency, and that frequency is in the range of some kilohertz, right? So when you speak, then some people is like some for example some 10 meter far from you, then if you loudly speak, still it's difficult to hear, right? If a person is about some 10 to 15 meter far from you, right? So as the distance is increased, uh, whatever the signal traveling in the in atmosphere, right? It will reach to some specific distance, right? Like our voice is of kilohertz frequency, so the kilohertz the signal which has the frequency in the range of kilohertz, it can travel up to some 5 to 10 meter, right? After that, because of the distortion, because of the noise in the atmosphere, right, the signal will like we can say like die, right? So same way, like when you use the radio frequency wave, right? In radio frequency also they have the different frequency. So as the frequency will increase, the frequency, the number of frequencies increase, right? Like starting from hertz to kilohertz to megahertz to gigahertz into like terahertz, right? So as the frequency will increase, uh, that signal of those frequency can travel more and more, right? Like uh, compared to the kilohertz frequency, if the signal have megahertz, then it is that signal is able to cover the more distance, right? So like your voice, our voice, if I want to transfer our voice from here to, for example, some other city like Ahmedabad, then this kilohertz frequency will not work. Then what we will do, we have to use the higher frequency, right? So what we will do in modulation, in this modulation technique or modulation task, we will put the lower frequency signal on the higher frequency signal, right? So when we are using the mobile, so mobile is working in the gigahertz. So when you speak in the mobile, what happening, your voice is sit on the higher frequency, and that higher frequency signal is transmitted. So because of that, using mobile you can talk from here to any place in the India, right? So as the frequency is increased, you can cover more range, right? So in this protocol also a modulation technique is used, which is called direct sequence spread spectrum, right? So it's a modulation technique in which we will transfer or we will send the signal of lower frequency using some higher frequency. All right. So in this protocol also we are using the ISM band. ISM band means in the gigahertz, frequency is in the gigahertz, right? So our voice or some signal of lower frequency, we are transmitting through the in gigahertz range frequency. Then this protocol have the feature like highly tolerant of noise and the interference, right? It's offer the link reliability improvement mechanism, right? So it's have the two features like it's highly tolerant of noise and interference, right? So because of this modulation, because of some other facility or other mechanism in the protocol, right? Whatever the noise or interference, right? Interfere noise means the same frequency signal, right? For example, if I speak, my frequency is of in kilohertz. If some of you people will speak, then your frequency, your voice frequency is also in kilohertz. So if we all speak together, then one person are unable to differentiate our voice, like it will, they will not differentiate like what I'm speaking. They know like something I'm speaking, but exact what I'm speaking they are unable to understand, right? Why? Because of all of our voice have the same frequency. So for my voice, your voice is noise for me, or we can say, I can say like, when I'm speaking, for my voice, yours voice is creating the interference, right? So this protocol is providing the tolerance for the noise and interference, right? And it's also providing some improved the reliability mechanism. Like once you will connect to devices, right? That link, right? Will provide that link is reliable means once you will transmit or send the data, right? There is a surety like the data will receive, right? So such kind of feature this protocol is providing. Then some technique called like the if your application or whatever this protocol you are using, it has the low speed version, means its data rate is lower. So such kind of this protocol, such kind of version use a technique called BPSK, binary phase shifting key, right? So again, this is a technique, right, which will use with this modulation technique, or for modulation, right? It's kind of like uh, convert the analog signal in the binary form, or in not binary but digital form, right? So if your protocol is lower speed version, then it's use BPSK. If it's high data rate version, then it's use OQPSK, offset quadrature phase shifting, right? So don't go in the detail of this technology, just remember the name, right? uh, then it is also using a technique called CSMCA. So CSMCA means carrier sense multiple access with collision avoidance, right? For channel access. So now channel means what? Like you have the band of like from uh, some 2.4 gigahertz to 2.5 gigahertz, so almost 0.1 gigahertz. So about 1000 megahertz range you have. So that frequency range you will divide into some channel, like if you create 100 channel of 10 megahertz, then 100 into 10, so 1000 megahertz, it's 1 gigahertz. Like whatever the range, whatever the bandwidth you have, you will divide those large bandwidth or large range into small part, and each part you will call it as a channel, right? So for example, once you will make the channel, you will create the channel of small range, still the number of user are that much, like you can't dedicated one channel for one user. Like you have 100 megahertz band, right? And for example, you have 1000 users or 1000 devices, then you can't make like 1000 channel, right? You can from 100 megahertz, you can maximum you can generate 10 to 15 channel. So means what? Some of the user have to share the channel, same channels, the people have to share, the device has to share. So for sharing that purpose, again, one some technique, some technology is used, which is called like multiple access, right? Whenever you have more than one device to access same channel, then you have to use some technique called multiple access, right? So different kind of multiple access techniques are there, right? So here the technique used, that is carrier sense. In some cases it's use time division multiple access, some cases it will use frequency division multiple access, right? Here same way it's using the carrier sense. So different carrier are used for different users, right? And they with that they will use the collision avoidance. So collision avoidance means like single channel is used by multiple users. So it should not happen like the data is interchanged between the users, right? Like you are transmit a signal for like device 1, and some data for device 2. then it is not happen like we are using same channel, means the data, whatever data received, you have to transmit to device 2 is received by device 1, and whatever data you transmit to device 1 is received by the device 2, right? So that kind of collision should not happen, right? So for that, in that they have the provision in this techniques, right? So the complete name of the technique is CSMC, right? Sense Carrier Sense Multiple Access with Collision Avoidance. So this multiplexing technique, right, it allow the multiple user or node like to use or to provide the interference free access to same channel at different time, right? So at different time they are using same channel. Then like as we call, like say, it has a feature of low power consumption, right? So that is happening because of in this protocol, the packets, whenever you're transferring the data in the form of packet, that data packets are very short and infrequent, right? And also for that they are using the low duty cycle, right? So that is of like less than 1%. So because of this, it have it have the feature of low power consumption, right? If you talk about like power, then the minimum power level, right, that is defined by like it's minus 3 dBm, or we can say like 0.5 millivolt, right? So that much of less power, that much of small power needed by when you transmit the signal or when you do the communication, right? In the communication, like whenever you transmit the data, in the most of the time your transmitter and receiver should be in the same line, right? So here the communication is happening most of the cases in line of sight, right? Line of sight means like in the line of your vision, right? So transmitter and receiver should be in the, like we can say like in line of sight or in single line. If we'll talk about the range, then the standard these protocols, right, is covering, or it has the range, in the range like minimum 10 meter and up to you can extend 75 meter, right? So in that range this protocol is working, right? You are able to transmit or do the communication in the 10 meter or 75 meter range, right? This is about the indoor range. If we talk about the outdoor, then in outdoor this protocol can cover about some 100-meter range, so about 1 kilometer, right? So using this protocol you can transmit the signal in maximum 1 kilometer distance outdoor. And this protocol is using the topologies like star and mesh, right? So standard, mainly when you want to use this protocol, your device or your the node should be in the star or mesh topology, right? Then you can properly utilize this protocol, right? This protocol have different variation, different version, right? So different variation are for different application and also defined by different country, right? So like IEEE 802.15.4 A and B, right? So these two are the base version, right? Or we can say like standard version of this protocol, right? Then one more variant is of C, right? 8 IEEE 802.15.4C. So that is basically used by the China, right? So China and nearby some China country, they are using this IEEE 802.15.4 with some modification. So that's why they have given the variant name C. Similar way, the D variant is used by the Japan, right? Some E variant, it's used by some industrial application, right? So this protocol, if you want to use in the industry application, then you will do some modification, and that variant is known like IEEE 802.15.4E, right? Same way, like in RFID also you can use this protocol for communication purpose, right? So your active RFID, right, whenever your uh, radio frequency, right, RFID active and passive tags we already studied, right? So active tag, they are able to transmit as well as receive the data, right? So if your RFID tags are active, then you can use this protocol for communication. And some smart utility network such as the smart grid, right? So in that, if you use this protocol, then its variant you can call it as G, right? So IEEE 802.15.4 G. So these are some variant. Then the next protocol is ZigBee, right? So if we'll see the some feature of ZigBee, then ZigBee is nothing but, you can say, like enhanced version of this IEEE 802.15.4 protocol, right? It's a kind of this same protocol but with some modification, with some enhancement, with some improvement, right? So the improvement is like we already know, we already discussed, like IEEE 802.15.4 is using the first two layer, right? Physical and MAC layer, right? Uh, but this ZigBee protocol, right? Definitely it is using the first two protocols, right? Sorry, first two layers. Along with that, this ZigBee protocol is also use the layer 3 and above layers, right? So like it is using all the layers, right? Uh, so the ZigBee protocol is defined by layer 3 and above layers, right? And it will work in first two layer similar way, like, or we can say like it is directly use IEEE 802.15.4, right? uh, so the additional, like, apart from first and second layer, right, physical layer and MAC layer, right, the third layer and fourth layer, right, that is the third and fourth are like the transport layer, and you can say like station layer, I think. Let's see. Sorry, network and transport layer, right? So these two layers are defined specifically for additional communication enhancement, right? And these enhancement are in the form of, like, you can include in this enhancement like authentication with valid node, right? So it's security purpose, right? Then some kind of encryption, right? That is also for security purpose, right? It is providing enhancement like the data routing and forwarding capability, right? So data routing, like route, like when you transmit data from one device to another device, source to destination, right? You should have the route. So that is kind of routing, right? And the forwarding capability, forwarding means it's kind of like in hoping technique, or you can say like uh, if your network is in mesh topology, then one device is connected with more than one devices, right? So if you have source and destination, then you can choose the best path, or the path in which you have to go through the minimum number of nodes, right? So in that, what happening, a node will transfer data to its neighboring node. That node will transfer data to their neighboring node. That way data is passing from one node to another node, and it will reach to the destination, right? So that is the data packet forwarding, you can say, right? So whenever you have, your network will have this routing or data forwarding capability, right? You can use the mesh topology efficient way, right? So that's why in ZigBee we are using mesh topology, right? uh, so that's why most popular use of ZigBee is in the wireless sensor network with the mesh topology, right? uh, as we have discussed, right? Like if you see the stack OSI model, then the first two layer, right, that is used by IEEE 802.15.4, right, and ZigBee will use all the seven layer, right? So first two layers similar to the IEEE 802.15.4, but apart from that, it's also using network transport station presentation application layer. Right? If you see the components of ZigBee protocol, right? Like we have seen in MQTT protocol, right? Where we have three components. One is like broker, one is the publisher, one is the subscriber, right? So similar way here you have two important components, right, in this protocol. One is ZigBee device object, which is called ZDO, right? ZigBee device object. And the second one is APS, application support sublayer. So the function of this ZigBee device object is the task like device management, to provide the security, to make the policies for the security and this device management, right? So these are the function of Zigbee device object, and the function of the application support sub layer is like to interfacing and the controlling service, right? To provide interfacing between the devices. It will provide the bridge between the network and the other layer, right? So these are the function of LPS, right? Then in if you see in the network or the IoT application or IoT network which you want to use Zigbee, then in that network you have some three kind of devices, or whatever devices in your network, right? You can distribute, or you can categorize them in three categories, right? So some of your devices in your network will be work as a coordinator, Zigbee coordinator. Some are work, some will work as a Zigbee router, some will work as a end user, Zigbee end user, right? So whatever the device in the network, right, you will find the three types of devices: Zigbee coordinator, Zigbee router, Zigbee end devices, right? So the uh, which device is called as a coordinator, or which device will work as a Zigbee coordinator, ZC. So the coordinator, the function of the coordinator is to form the root of the network, right? Or root of the network tree, right? And it will act or work as a bridge between networks, right? So if you have two different network, and if you want to do the communication between two networks, right, then that communication can only happening through the node which is called as a coordinator, or the nodes which are able to do that communication between different network, then it is a nothing but the coordinator, right? uh, so you can see like each network will have a single Zigbee coordinator, so it will work like a server, right? And you can say this coordinator will initiate the network, right? So it's the center of the network, and with that you will connect different nodes, right? The function of this coordinator is to store the information about the network with, the network, and in the network whatever the devices are connected, right? So that all the information are stored in this coordinator, right? Also it will store the information like which other outside networks are connected with that network, right? So about that information also it will include. So you can say like this Zigbee coordinator act as a trust center or repository for the security keys, right? So whatever the security keys which we use for security purpose, like to define like which device can connect with the network, or with which device you are sending or receiving the data, right? So about all those information, all those things are stored in this coordinator, right? So it's a central device. The Zigbee router is the devices like in your network, some devices which are capable of running the application, as well as like they will just relay the information between nodes, right? So they will work as an intermediate, right? From one device to other device, they will just transfer the information, right? So which is called as a router, Zigbee router. And the third type of devices, which is known as a Zigbee end user, right? So these end devices. So these end devices have only capability like they can just talk to the parent node. So parent node means they can just send data or receive data from router, Zigbee router or Zigbee coordinator, right? Like you will never find like two end user will do the communication, right? Whatever communication you want to do, you have to do through the router and the coordinator, right? So it is a limitation of the end user, right? They can only talk to the parent node, right? They cannot talk with the other end user, right? uh, then this end user end devices, this allows the node to be to be in a sleep mode, right? So because of uh, like all the tasks are divided into these three types, right? This end user can be in the sleep mode. So sleep mode means whenever they are not in use, right? They will use, they will work as like they are turn off, right? So they will use very less energy or very less power. So these end devices, right, will be in the sleep as a significant amount of the time, thereby it will save the battery or save the power, and that's why the battery life will increase. If we'll talk about the memory, or if we'll compare the memory of all these three type of devices which are in the Zigbee network, right, then these end devices will have the lowest memory, right, and if we'll compare the cost, then these end devices, the cost of the end devices is very less, so it's cheaper compared to router and coordinator. uh, so in the memory, the coordinator have the highest memory, then router have the memory, and the end devices will have the lowest memory. And if we talk about the cost, then the coordinator have the highest cost, so it's costlier. Then this router is somewhat less cost, and the end devices are cheaper, right? Very low cost. So you can see like topologies, you can use star topology, you can use color cluster tree type of topology, and you can use the mesh. So the mesh is widely used, right? You can see like the nodes have the different color, right? So if you will see the green color, so that is the end devices, Zigbee end devices. The blue colors node are the router, Zigbee router, and the red color devices, right, which are generally act as a gateway, right, are the Zigbee coordinator, right. So whenever you want to communicate with the two different network, then the communication will happen through the gateway, right, or through the coordinator, right. When you want to transfer the data inside the network, then you have to do that thing through the router, right. So you can see the blue one, and the green one, right, they are the end users, so they are able to just receive the data or send data to router only, right. uh, Now compare in this three type of topology, right? Why mesh is widely used? Because the mesh topology will provide the more reliability, right? Why? How? So you can see like in here you will see like A B C D E F G, right? This seven different nodes. Now your aim is you want to transfer the data from node A to node G, right? So you will see like you have the multiple path, right? So multiple path, like the shortest path are like A2 C2 D2 E D2 E2 G, then A2 C2 D2 F2 G, then A2 B2 D2 F2 G, right? So you will see like you have different multiple paths. Now once your network has choose the path like A, C, D, F and G, when you want to transfer data from A to G, now at some time, right, because of some problem like your node C and F have some problem, and because of that those nodes are down, those uh, routers are down, still data can transfer, right, through the alternative route, which is A B D E G, right. So you can see like though some nodes are faulty, some nodes are not working properly, still data can transfer from source to destination, right. So because of that we can say like it's provide the higher reliability, right. So that's why this Zigbee, we are using this mesh topology widely, right. And this ability, right, we can call these abilities like these mesh networks are self configurable and self healing, right. So self healing means some problem will occur itself, they will find an alternative based path or based route, right. Also the safe self configurable means once you will add the more node, right, they will add that node in the network, and they will consider that node, right. So like uh, scalable type of network, right. Now the application of Zigbee protocol is like you can use Zigbee in the building automation, like some industry or some of your home appliances, right. You can, for that automation you can use Zigbee, right. Industry also you can find like whatever devices are automatically work through wireless, right? Some of them are using ZigBee protocol. Then remote control, right? Wherever you will find the consumer electronics, something is operated through remote, right? So they are using ZigBee, like AC, right? Nowadays you will find like AC are operated remotely, right? Using remote, and that you will not find they are using RF, radio frequency, sorry, IR, infrared, right? Most of the TV, AC, right? Those all type of remote controls are kind of, they are using infrared for communication. But nowadays, some of the companies started to use the ZigBee, right? Radio frequency for remote controlling. So this IR has the limitations, like if you place, like you will see like in the remote, in the TV remote, one LED is there. So if you place something in front of the LED, then the data will not transfer. Why? Because the infrared needs the line of sight to transfer the data, right? So you will place something, some obstacle will come in the in that path, then they will fail, right? So that thing will not happen in ZigBee. So that's why for remote control people are using it, right? Some of the application like smart energy for home energy monitoring, right? We are using ZigBee. Some of the healthcare related applications or medical application or some fitness monitoring application, we are using ZigBee. We are using ZigBee in home automation, or we can say like smart home, right? In which we are controlling different appliances through the remote. So in that also we can use ZigBee, right? We can use ZigBee like for LED lighting. Like nowadays you will see the ad of like Cisco company, right? They are providing kind of lights in which you can change the brightness through the remote. You can change the color of light through the remote, right? So in such application they are using this ZigBee protocol, right? And in some of the telecom services also we are using ZigBee protocol. Then the next one is the 6LoWPAN, right? So this protocol, right? So LoWPAN, so low LO, it's for the word low power, and the WPAN is for the wireless personal area network, right? And the 6 digit we are using in the name because it is using the Internet Protocol version 6. Right? So because of that Internet Protocol version 6, that 6 digit we are placing the starting. So the 6LoWPAN, it stands for like low power wireless personal area network over IPv6, right? Uh, so this protocol generally we are using when you have the restriction is like you have the devices are very small, or you want to make the devices very small, right? So it's allowed for smallest devices, right, with limited processing ability, right? So also like you have the limitation, like you do not need more processing, right? Then you can use this protocol, right? And definitely it will work wirelessly, right? So you have the application transfer the data wirelessly, right? That at that time you will use this protocol, and wirelessly it will transfer the data using internet protocol, right? And that is the internet protocol version 6, IPv6, right? uh, Also this protocol is used wherever you have the application of low power, right? You want like your device will consume less power, then you will use this protocol, right? So it's allow low power devices, and you are using the internet, right? So this protocol is created by the group IETF, right? Internet Engineering Task Force, right? And they will give like the standard name as like RFC 5933 and RFC 4919, right? So and some feature of this protocol is like it's allow, or is using IEEE 802.15.4 kind of frequency or kind of protocol, right? It's used same as this protocol, right? But it has the additional thing is like it is using IPv6, Internet Protocol version 6 protocol, and we know like IPv4 are able, right? These are the internet protocol, and it is also have the feature of like addressing, and there, like if you have the IPv4 protocol, then IPv4 protocol have the ability of 32-bit address, and this IPv6 has the ability of 128-bit address, right? So you can include more number of devices, and you will give the unique name to different devices, right? Uh, in this protocol also it will use some techniques like header compression and address translation technique, right? So such kind of techniques they are using, and because of that technique, right, in this protocol we are able to use IEEE 802.15.4 framework or the protocol itself, right? So it's nothing but like you are using internet, you are using IEEE 802.15.4 frequency. So you will combine those things, then it will make this 6-LoWPAN protocol, right? Here, like we know IPv6 have the 128-bit address, right? So because of that, when you use IPv6, whatever the data packet you have, definitely this 128-bit is included in that. So because of that, the packet size will increase, right? And if the packet size will increase, then this IEEE 802.15.4, right? That packet format is very small, so this IEEE 802.15.4 is not able to transfer this high or the bigger size packet. So to reduce that size, right, it will use this compression technique, header compression, right? And they will, using this technique, they will fit the packet of the higher size with the smaller size, right? So they will fit the packet to the IEEE 802.15.4 packet format, right? So because of this all feature, this protocol we use in some IoT application, in some smart grid kind of application, in some machine to machine application. This, as we know, like it's using IPv6, right? So maximum we can use like 128-bit for addressing, right? So for addressing, this protocol have two different uh, type, right? So it can able to use 64-bit address, and it can also use a 16-bit address, right? So when it uses the 64-bit address, so 64 means for transmitter 64, for receiver 64, so total 128-bit, right? Uh, so when we can use this addressing scheme, when you want your network with the internet, means you want the address of globally unique. At that time we are using this addressing code, and whenever you need to transfer the data in local level, right, in your network only, at that time this protocol will use 16-bit address, right? So that at the 16-bit address technique, it's PAN specific, right? So PAN means personal area network, and your coordinator, right, network coordinator will assign this address, right? But in this, when you use 64-bit address, at that time you can't use the feature like multicast, IPv6 multicast, right? That is not supported, right? And these IPv6 packets carried as a link layer broadcast frame. Information about 6-LoWPAN. Then the next one is RFID. So for RFID, we already have one chapter. So we already have studied that, right? Radio frequency identification. So this is also kind of transport or communication protocol, right? So RFID, we know it's radio frequency identification. In that we have main two component, right? One is RFID tag, second is RFID reader, right? And for communication we are using antenna, right? So these three main things are there. This technique is similar to barcode and QR code, right? But this barcode and QR code have the limitation, like they can only work when the code are very close to reader, right? Or you can say like when your tag is exactly in front of the reader.
Sir,
Hello. Yes.
सर दूसरा लेक्चर स्टार्ट हो गया है सर.
Okay. So we'll finish here. In the next lecture, we'll start from the RFID. Okay. Uh, so I will share the. Yesterday I forgot to share the link, but today I will
सर
share.
कल आपने गूगल फॉर्म कल का भी शेयर नहीं किया था
Yeah. No problem. It's fine. Already in Google, in this MS Team, the attendance is recorded. Okay.